says and listen. I want you to listen. Like, we're involved right now. It's crazy. It's loud. It's hectic. We're in New York City. But I want you to listen to No Holds Barred Network.
Hey guys, welcome back to the No Holds Barred Network with another episode of the Wrestle Forum Podcast. I'm your host as always, the EVP of Giggles, the Queen of the Indies, the Heartbreak Chick, Tiffany. And I'm so excited because it's been a long time coming, okay? Like, to be joined with Conrad from Everything Pro Wrestling. What is going on? I'm so hyped.
Nothing much, Tiff. It's been a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Lots going on. It's my anniversary, so I got to make sure I say something to my wife.
Aw, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
You shouldn't be spending it with me. I'm sorry.
You're fine. You gave me a break from putting some flooring down, so you're good.
That's a good way to be doing it, right? Like, put some flooring down. Happy anniversary. I love it. I love it. Guys, so if you're new here, so we created the Wrestle Forum Podcast because I wanted to get involved with people, podcasters, very important people in Twitter, in the wrestling world. So like I said, like, this has given me a great opportunity to work with a lot of other podcasters. Oh, you have disappeared. And what happened there? Are you still with me?
Yeah.
Oh, what happened? Zoom is being a butt. All right, let's see. All right, there we go. All right. I don't know. Hopefully, we're trying so many things. All right. Okay, you're there. All right, perfect. I don't know what happened there. Technology. Maybe we should have just stuck with Skype. I can't even.
I see myself. That's all I know.
Oh my goodness. I don't know why. Okay, so I'm just gonna try one more thing and see if it just like I said, worst case scenario, we will just switch off. All right, let me technology does not like me today. We probably should have just did Skype.
No worries.
Only my luck, right? That this would happen. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, we're just gonna stick with this. All right, guys. So anyway, so I figured like we're gonna chat. I mean, this is pretty much about anything. So yeah, so for the people that don't know you, why don't you tell everybody, like, what's your podcast about? How did you get into wrestling? Let's start from there.
Oh dear. All right. If I go long-winded, cut me off. So name's Conrad Cushman, real name, all that. Most people call me CJ. So if you ever hear that, they're talking about me as well. But I am the owner, I guess, of Everything Pro Wrestling Podcast. Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans, for the fans. That's the tagline every time. The main thing that I try to incorporate in pro wrestling is I try to watch various amounts of it. So usually that's everything from WWE, Impact Wrestling, AEW, TNA, Ring of Honor. I've tried to incorporate a little bit because of JPQ. I try to get a little bit of everything in there, and even some of my local indies. And that's just what Everything Pro Wrestling is about. And the main thing is I try to focus on fan feedback. I want it to be a place where people don't get like attacked for their opinion for the most part. I mean, there's certain people who like they've pushed it to the limit. It's like, all right, dude, that's enough. But, I want you to come in, feel safe about giving your opinion about something. No one's going to say you're wrong on my podcast. No one's going to say, hey, this is a terrible take and this is why. I mean, you get into some debates, but honestly, you can say whatever you want. And I'm usually not going to get offended, and I'll read whatever people say on there.
Okay. Seems to not like me today from the Zoom. It was working. Okay, there we go. All right. I don't know. It doesn't like me today. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. I promise you that I'm there.
He is here, so I'm just readjusting because you know all about it. We talk about it all the time. If you run a podcast, then you absolutely know. And me and Conrad do this all the time, right? We talk all the time on the side, and we talk about all the issues that happen on podcasting. It's a stress. It's a pain. So I think
a lot of the technological issues, and we could probably have a whole podcast talking about
really could.
Bandwidth and how all of a sudden things just don't work in the middle and you have to roll with it. It's what it is. As long as people can hear me, I'm cool with
Absolutely. So, and that's a great thing too, as well, that we have, audio as well. So it's not just a video podcast. So, but I
have
think
a face for podcasts.
Yes.
So,
and you have the voice for it too. So it's great. So I love it.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that you love all different kind of wrestling. So it's such a great thing, and I love popping in your AEW chats, of course, because I host the All Elite podcast as well. So yeah. So since we just passed with Double or Nothing, let's talk a little bit about that. So your thoughts?
As far as Double or Nothing goes, I thought it was a really good show. Mm-hmm. I usually go through and I grade all the matches. I think it's the fairest way for me to do it. I've never been a pro wrestler. I try to respect everybody in the ring. But when you've watched for 30 years, I think I know what's good and what's not for the most part. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, I gave it a B+ for the show. It was different. I had a good time with it. You had surprises. You had a new debut happen. What else did we get on the show? We had a new TNT champion crowned. We had a great laugh talking about the whole Cody Lance Archer thing on your podcast, especially.
Yeah.
I'm usually in the chat just writing in there, but yeah, it's something completely different. Really I don't know. They brought it. I like AEW is probably my favorite promotion. It's between that and New Japan right now.
I heard Japan's coming back, like that it's back the pro wrestling now after like the whole coronavirus.
I heard. We'll see if they actually do it, though. New Japan seems to really be taking care of their wrestlers. I think they've handled it the best out of all the companies. Mm-hmm. They did a really good job.
Yeah, they were all like working together. It was great. So kudos to you guys. So I can't wait to get back into wrestling. I miss my independence. I miss it all, man. I'm sad. We both had tickets to the AEW shows, so I know
back-to-back coverage they would have had from us live.
Oh my goodness. Like you and Kyle were going to the Rochester show. I was going to the Jersey show. It's so I mean, I know eventually like we're gonna get it, like, so we'll get there.
Yeah, it's coming.
It will happen.
They said they owe us. Like, I was really happy to hear Tony Khan, and I love Tony Khan as far as a promoter goes. I think that's a fair term for him in pro wrestling. I really love how he's like for the people, and he even assured us like, you guys are going to get a show. And I know he wants to deliver for your show too.
Yeah.
Like, he definitely knows like these guys deserve, I promised them like the blood and guts match, which is War Games basically. And he knew that he had to deliver a good show for you guys. So I think that they're really invested in those two shows, at least for now.
Right. Absolutely. Oh, I can't, like, even me and a bunch of my friends were like, just, oh, blood and guts. Oh, like, now how are you going to make it up to us? Like, I don't know. Like, you know, this kind of reminds me of, and I was having this conversation the other day, the whole Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, right? And like when it first started, we started getting that feud, and then what was it? Johnny got hurt, and then like Ciampa got hurt, and it just like kept prolonging it, and then it's like, then when we finally got it, it just, I don't know. It's just like, I love the two. It was good, but I guess, would have meant more, especially that it was here in New York when Johnny Gargano won the belt.
Yeah, so I think they ruined the cherry on top moment, but you can't. It's how do I put it? It's kind of like, those confetti poppers that you can push up. You can't put that back in once you do it. So once they gave him the belt, the magic was gone from the whole storyline, from what you wanted to see. And then they had to turn Johnny heel, and I feel a certain way about that. I won't get into that right now. Like, they turned Johnny heel, and can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Do you care?
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Whatever you want to talk about.
In my opinion, Johnny Gargano is not a bad guy.
No.
Like, I just don't see it when I look at him. I feel like he's playing the part of a bad guy right now.
And it's
I like
hard.
him too much. Maybe that's my problem.
You know, I feel bad. I was like, I kind of stopped watching NXT. I was so hype on NXT for like the longest. So I think when like Gargano was supposed to go up to the main roster, I think that's when like I was like, okay, like I'm not gonna be able to watch like NXT anymore. And I get like that. I think sometimes when like a bunch of my favorites like get moved up, like I'm like, okay, I'm done. That's what happened to me like 20 years ago. I stopped watching WWE. Like life happened to me, so it's like I stopped watching wrestling. So but it was also like a combination of the fact that I was like, oh, all my favorites are leaving now, and or they're retiring, or they're leaving to go somewhere else, or whatever the scenario was. It kind of did that to me. So I kind of felt that with Johnny Gargano. But like you said, and they're like, I met Johnny Gargano. He is the most nicest guy. Never mind the fact that he's done intro for all our podcasts, which is great. I love it. He's so sweet. Like when I met him, like he came and I was like, he gave me like a high five, like walking past me. Like I was like, oh man. And then when you talk to him, like he's so humble. Like
I feel the same way about Candace though. Like she's so nice.
Yeah, it's
I just
weird.
I don't know. I don't believe in them as the heel team. Maybe it'll take a second to click for me, but right now I'm just kind of like, dude, no.
Yeah, some people, right, just play better like heel, or they'll play better babyface, right? So that when it swaps, it's confusing, right? And it's like some of them can really pull it off, right? We've seen that where they've switched and you're like, oh, okay, like I like them as this. And then we have like the others that can only play one part, I feel. So
it's so tough with them. I really can't elaborate any more on it, but the last thing I want to say is just they're so good at being babyface. I know the reaction that they were getting was probably what warranted the change from the fans.
Yeah.
And I don't know why people boo Johnny Gargano. I ask this question all the time for certain wrestlers, like, hey, why do people boo Johnny Gargano or whoever? Insert your favorite New Japan wrestler. Some people don't like Yano, and I'm like, why don't you like Yano? I just ask these questions, and sometimes there's no good reason for why people are doing what they're doing. I was at the Toronto show, and people just booed him. They loved Adam Cole, like to the fullest. I couldn't explain it.
It's weird. Like you just don't know. Like me, like I'm a big heel person, right? I love heels. I just love it. I'll go to shows and like I'll scream and go absolutely nuts for the heels, and everybody's booing, but I'll be the one chick there cheering for the heel. Like, hey, let me live my life. That. No, I always tell people all the time, like, all the time, like, hey, do you like have fun? Do what you got to do. You have to make some sort of reaction, right? That's what they want. They feed off of that stuff. So if you're gonna boo or whatever it is, like, I love it. I can't.
So did you always like heels even growing up though, watching it?
It's funny because I always go back to like that. I always said like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels were like my favorites back then, like growing up, right? So like in the beginning when I was watching Shawn Michaels, he was a heel. So I did like him when I started watching him. So, and then eventually like I think it made it much sweeter when he turned into babyface for me. Mm-hmm. And then you watch that character evolve, I guess is the best way to put it. I guess that's the best word, that he evolved into like the babyface. So it's always, I guess so. More now. I think more now because I'm older and like I know better than being a kid, and now I understand like the storyline. It's fake, blah 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 blah. Like.
No, I really think that your young wrestling fandom shapes how you are as a person. Yeah. Do you want me to get into this?
Yeah, go for it. Hey, no, go for it. This is why we do Wrestle Forum. It's all over the place, so go.
So, in my humble opinion, I always think the way that you are brought up with pro wrestling shapes the way you're a fan today.
Right.
So you look at people in my age range. I'm in the early 30s, we'll say. Don't ask what number. And when you shape it, I look at it like this. So I grew up in the 80s where it was the golden era. You had Hogan, Warrior, Savage. They attracted me with all of the colors and everything else. I've been watching pro wrestling so long, Tiff. I never answered your first question either. I've been watching so long that I don't remember when I started watching. Is that crazy to you?
No. A lot of people like what is the first exact moment with a lot, and I can't really pinpoint like where it was. I remember watching like a Monday Night Raw And I remember seeing Lex Luger, but I can't tell you like the segment that happened or whatever. But I really remember like WrestleMania 10. That one always sticks out to me. And I think I was watching way before that, but WrestleMania 10 always sticks out to me. So I can't really.
WrestleMania 8's the first one for me. I remember ordering that one. Like I begged my father, and that's my first pay-per-view. I remember that.
Yeah.
Very specifically.
Yeah. It's just...
But what I'm saying is when it shapes you. So I grew up in the 80s, like with Hogan, Warrior, and all the cartoon characters as a kid.
Right.
Cool. I grew up. I was about, this is before I'm a teenager. And then I started getting Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. Now, Shawn Michaels, the Rockers were my favorite tag team.
Mhm.
I just liked those guys. I thought they were really cool. But Shawn, I always have a favorite in a tag team too. I know people probably hate that you do this. Like, you're like, who do you like better? Booker T or Stevie Ray? I was a Stevie Ray guy.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, who do you like better? Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty. Shawn Michaels. Who do you
Yeah.
like better? Rick Steiner or Scott Steiner? Scott
I
Steiner.
think it's just natural to kind of like think like that too. It just there's always like that favorite, right? It's just, even though it's like a partnership, there's usually you're drawn to like one of the two. I mean, you love the whole tag team, right? You love it as a whole, but there's always like one that you like better. It's just, I think it's just how it is naturally for us. So.
Right. So follow me now with this.
Okay.
So Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart were my favorites in tag teams growing up as a kid.
Right.
So when they started getting their singles push, I'm still interested because I cared about them back when they were in tag teams.
Yeah.
I'm still transitioning in. Now, towards the end, we all know what happened with pro wrestling. Diesel gets to be the champion. Wrestling's a little corny. You're like, Bob Backlund's the champ, blah, 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 blah. You're getting all these gimmicks of plumbers, Mantar,
Yeah.
Duke the Dumpster Drozy. This is garbage. Aldo Montoya, he's got like a weird mask and it looks like a jock strap on his face. You don't want to watch this, right? And then right before when I'm about to get out, Attitude Era hits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this is cool. Now you got all the wildness happening and everything else. And it worked. Like, it really sucked me in. Like, from 13, 14, you're like a teenager by then. And everything's just wild. It was the coolest thing to talk about at school. And by the time this happens until I'm in high school, and then you get into the ruthless aggression era, I'm in high school and it's all about athletics.
Right.
Then you're looking at Eddie Guerrero, Brock Lesnar, Chris Benoit, whoever. And if you're like, yo, I like going to school and being athletic, it all just kept rolling. And then I'm like, dude, how did I get here? And I'm still watching pro wrestling today. That's it. Like, I could keep going on and on about it, but I was just like, man, that's a really crazy story. I don't know if Vince McMahon like shaped my life or what happened, but he built like a fandom for me to follow it.
But that's why, like, I always say, right, like me, like when on the No Holds Barred Network, right, my passion on the No Holds Barred Network is AEW and the independent scene, right? Those are my two babies. I do love other things too. Like, I'll watch, randomly like Ring of Honor, randomly New Japan or whatever. But, it's funny. And I think a lot of people started noticing when I started guesting on people's shows was that I was really, I started with like WWF. I really did. Like, that was my thing. And, like I said, like, life just happened and I stopped. I had too much going on. So I stopped watching. But about 6 years ago, that's when I got back into wrestling. I'm like, how is wrestling? They're like, it's so much better now. So now, and like, even like me and Queen of NE, shout out to you. Like, we talked about this too, like the evolving of wrestling in general, women's wrestling. It's so much different now, right? Like, it's crazy to think about it that women were like valets and now we're getting stuff that they're intergender matches and it's absolutely insane. And you're saying like athletic, right? Like, that's the thing. Technical, any kind of wrestling you want is out there. Technical wrestling, death matches, intergender matches, like the women can steal the show of a match, and it's absolutely insane for us now. It's such a great time.
Pro wrestling is a variety show, like you just said. There's different things for different people.
Yeah.
Especially as far as the whole. So maybe you don't like death matches,
right?
That's fine.
It's okay.
Maybe you like technical wrestling. Maybe some people love comedy wrestling.
Oh yeah,
I know, like Warren Hayes, JPQ. I'm name dropping a lot of people today.
Yeah, drop them.
But they love comedy matches. There's nothing wrong with comedy in pro wrestling. If done right, you can do it. And I think how your is federation a proper term? If you're however you want your federation structured, you can do that. You could have a Chikara type federation if you wanted to.
Right? No, it's crazy. Like, it's funny you say like comedy wrestling, right? And I was told by independent wrestler. Like, I'm friends with a lot of independent wrestlers. Like, I've hung out with a bunch, and so one of the independent wrestlers that I know, he told me, he was like, Tiff, you got to check this show out. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm free. I was like, I definitely want to expand my palette in wrestling, right? I don't want it just to be one thing. I want to see what else is out there to offer me, right? So I was like, all right, cool. I was like, extreme serious wrestling. Now, I went with my girl April. Shout out to you, Brooklyn Wolf of makeup. I love her to death. Is like my partner in crime. So we went, and it was just so funny because the way that, and it was funny, I talked about this on Indie Talks. It was like, the best way to describe it, like my thought of it was like starving artists, right? They weren't, some of them were wrestlers, but they weren't, I guess, like in like the indie scene. Maybe they trained or whatever, so they're putting on a show, and it was like a comedy act. And what they were doing is like, they didn't even have a ring, Conrad. Like, it was cones with like the warning labels like wrapped around as the rings, and it was the most entertaining thing for like 2 hours for me. And I was like, but again, like I said, like, this might piss off a lot of people, right? But with me now, like, my mind is so open to whatever. Like, I will check out anything. Like, I don't want to slander it before, like, I don't even want to have an opinion before the fact. And I feel like I can't, like, some of it's just meant for fun. And these people aren't even wrestling fans that were like coming to these shows either. It was just like something to do Friday night. So, right. But it was entertaining.
I think I remember commenting on did you take a picture of that?
Yeah, there was pictures and videos, like somebody dropped marbles or something like
that. Yes. So when you put that tweet up, I think I remember I put an emoji up and you were like, you got to give it a chance before you say anything. Yeah. And I was just like, all right. I won't knock it. I won't knock it yet till I try it. But yeah, if you are, you're in the hotbed for independent pro wrestling. Yeah, it's not the same here for it. I wish it was. I think we have 2 here that I know of that are like the main ones. Yeah. Nickel City Wrestling and Empire State Wrestling.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And you can catch a lot of good people there. A lot of like the Impact guys like Ethan Page. So many. And then they usually have guests. Like, I know Evil Uno's come in, Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, they travel around all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Pepper Parks was doing it from there. You guys may know him as Deep Blade or Braxton Sutter. Yeah. Whatever name you want to call him now. But yeah, he performed there all the time. I saw the Lucha Bros at one of the shows. Like, it's just fun. I love independent pro wrestling.
Oh God, it's so good. I preach. That's why, like, I always say, like, I want to be an advocate towards it because there's just so much great stuff out there. And like I said, I put a tweet out earlier that I was like, it's so satisfying to me. Okay, like going to these shows and stuff and then seeing them like make their moves up, right? It's just so crazy. So like you even said, like, you've seen, like Butcher and Blade and stuff like come like even like before that they went to AEW. So I'm seeing a lot of even guys in the independent scene, like then they started moving up to AEW. So it's so crazy. Like I like felt such a type of way today. I don't know if you caught BTE today.
I haven't watched it yet. It's in my watch later because
I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I'm just gonna say that there was people on BTE today with the private party segment that I know personally, okay, from New York, of them wrestling all over the place. And it's just so crazy to me to like see them wrestle in so many independent promotions. And then it's like, they're on like BTE. Like, this is crazy to me. Like, it's so cool. It's just great. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, those House of Glory cats, man, a lot of them are really good. Like, I don't know if people don't get the chance to check it out. I know it got a lot of name recognition once Master P became part of it, but House of Glory's been good for years, guys. If anybody ever gets the opportunity to check it out, go on powerslam.tv.
Yes.
You can use either one of our codes.
Yes.
For it. Check it out, man. I'm telling you, it's a free month.
Yeah, like here, guys, I put it up on the screen for you guys. Like, Power Slam TV is absolutely great. There's so many great promotions. I mean, I went on it like one night and I started, and the thing what's cool too is like, even if you want to search a particular wrestler, you can just type their name in and it will come up with every show that they performed in. So like, that's what I did. So like, I went in one day, I put in Alex Zane, then it showed me something from, I think it was Iowa that he wrestled in. And I was like, oh, okay. And then it was great because like a lot of the wrestlers, they know me. So they actually, they'll they'll tag the other person if they wrestle somebody, if I don't know the tag on Twitter. And it's a good way to like follow. And then you can start like learning about that wrestler as well. So guys, use No Holds Free as the code for their 1-month trial on Power Slam TV. Definitely great stuff.
Yeah, that's how I found out about Nyla Rose. I was trying to do some backstory on some of the AEW signees because I didn't know a lot of things about many of them. Like, honestly, I saw Britt Baker wrestle one match before AEW. Nyla Rose, I'd never seen her work before, and now I'm like, oh, she's legit. Yeah, she's good.
She's like, also I've seen like on Synergy, and it's also, I know like with us being the pandemic and stuff, so a lot of promotions are trying to give us something. So Synergy Wrestling, Colin, I love you to death. Like, he's been putting on shows on Fight, so he's been taking like best of and putting them into like maybe like a $5 pay-per-view or a $10 pay-per-view, which is good. And you're getting to see this. So it's funny, we saw like Nyla Rose, but a lot of people that are in AEW I've watched in New York in the independent scene. So it's like Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, Private Party. So it's Jungle Boy. It's so crazy to me. Like, that's why I say, like, as a fan, to see them in the independent scene and then make that call up to a higher promotion. So even if it's Ring of Honor, even if it's MLW, or if they go over to Japan, it's so cool. Like, when I got to talk to Ali Zane when he was doing like dojo in Japan, like, that was fun as well. Like, he's another great person. So
yeah, Alex Zane's the man. Absolutely enjoy him. Chris Bay. Yes. I saw them at GCW recently. Fun stuff to watch those guys wrestle. It goes back to what we said, though. It's about the journey sometimes with the person. Like we said with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels in my example before. I love watching me say, who are these dudes in the pink tights, to, yo, this dude's one of my favorite wrestlers. I'm so happy he's the world champion now, and he went through being Intercontinental champion, this storyline, that storyline. Same with Shawn Michaels. He was Diesel was his backup, then Diesel outshined him, and then he was like, how can I get out in front of him again? Like, it just shows like the competitiveness. It's fun for everybody. If you can find a reason to invest in someone, I would recommend it. It's fun to watch a journey of anybody like succeed.
Oh, it's great. It's definitely great. And then again, you start finding other promotions, and that's what happened to me. And that's how I feel like that's how I got so invested more in the independent scene, even though it was like I was already enjoying the independent scene. I was seeing shows locally. Like, my friend was a referee, shout out to Jimmy. He reffed out in Long Island, sometimes in Brooklyn, sometimes all over the place, and I would go to like these shows, and that's how I started finding certain people. And Number One Husband. So just me following Number One Husband, Anthony Gangone, that's brought me to see so many other wrestlers that that's why I say it's so crazy, the opportunities that I've had, and the friendships that I've made with a lot of these wrestlers. It's such a beautiful thing. So, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's definitely cool to hear.
Oh, so like, I know we like kind of steered off on like an AEW Double or Nothing. So what did you think about my boy Orange Cassidy coming in, asking about the rules?
Orange Cassidy is one of my favorites from AEW. Just a fool, man. Him climbing up. At one point, I thought he was going to win. Spoiler alert if anybody hasn't seen the show yet. When he was on Cage's back and Cage is climbing up the ladder, I was like, yo, what if they just let Orange Cassidy win like this? Just grab it.
I think it would have been like a whole thing. Can you imagine if he did win? Like, if it would have like happened, like, it would go like nuts. I'm so glad that he became like a fan favorite, that like everybody goes nuts. But we also need the crowd factor too. Like, they're doing such a good job with no crowd, but like Orange Cassidy needs a crowd.
I just have one request. When he busts out the orange juice, I don't know if they're waiting for a deal to happen.
Oh my God,
they're gonna have
please.
To peel logos off. It has to happen that he gets to bust out the freshly squeezed
orange. See, like, I talk about this all the time on the All Elite podcast, and like, Kyle doesn't know. I gotta send Kyle an actual like match for him, so him to see the actual orange juice. Like, it makes me nuts. I'm like, he always came out, the orange juice was in the back pocket, that he would come like somewhere along the line, it'd be in the corner, like he'd sip it, and then all of a sudden right out. Like, that this would have been a perfect little bit in this ladder match. But maybe, like you said, maybe they're saving it for something big. Or maybe they're waiting for a sponsorship with Tropicana or something.
I think it's for the logos and stuff. Maybe they're trying to see. They drop Starbucks name all the time, so maybe that's it. If you guys ever want to see what we're talking about, watch his match with Brian Alvarez. Actually, he's like one of the number one podcasters when it comes to doing this. But check out Brian Alvarez's match with him, because some people have never even seen him wrestle before. Yeah. But I thought that was a great match with those two, and they've got all the spots in it. It's all comedy.
Even like my favorite match, one of my favorite matches with Orange Cassidy is with Joey Janela. Tangerine Cassidy on ICW, and you'll see me too. It's on ICW on YouTube. You'll see me in the front row. I love ICW so much, so much. One of my favorite promotions. I always try to make sure I have front row seats for that show. Like it's a great. I mean, I love the fact that even with you that you love independent wrestling. Like my heart is all for independent wrestling on top of like AEW, and seeing a bunch of the independent guys go over to AEW. It's a great thing. But
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, you brought up Yano too. I love Yano. Everybody was like, I love him. I don't know. I'll always go back to the whole thing with him and Moxley with the 500 yen or whatever, 5,000 yen. 5,000 yen.
Dude, you know who I cry for every time? I cry for Taichi. Taichi definitely probably is one of the most hated people that I don't understand why. Yeah. I feel so bad for the guy. I was like, why does everybody hate Taichi? I think he's all right.
I don't know. I love it. I'm sad that we're not getting New Japan coming back in August, that they postponed it. I'm so sad at MSG. I was like, okay, I need me and probably everybody else that I know, like that loves wrestling. This was such like a sad thing, but I mean, I rather them be safe than force something.
Yeah, I was having a big internal conflict on if I should go to that or not. We were talking about it, like, should I go? Should I not?
Yeah. Well,
I really wanted to though. Those shows are so good, man. So like I wish I went to the G1 Super.
Oh God, yes. Kyle and I went to that one. That was Kyle's first Ring of Honor New Japan show. So, oh my God. So I definitely got him into Marty Scurll because of that. Like, because he knew I was like a big Marty Scurll nut, and I blew out his eardrum because I was screaming. That's my boy. This is my husband. Like, and now he's one of my husbands. I gotta redo my like original husband list because I don't even know where anybody is anymore on that list because I just focused on the independent, and really the only one that really matters is number one husband. So like, it's just how it is around here. But oh my God, if you guys have not been to a New Japan Ring of Honor show, like definitely get on that train because it is gold. It's so, if you like technical wrestling, that's what I like about New Japan, even like that's just like sport, that they treat it like a sport. So it's so different, and you're getting the storytelling in the ring as well. So it's not so much promo, even though you'll see stuff like after the matches, but it's great. So I'm glad. I can't wait to get back into it. We missed so much with the New Japan. So yeah, we were missing like a tournament. I actually enjoyed watching Stardom, like you said. JPQ, shout out to you. He's been on the Wrestle Forum as well. I had so much fun. I told him, teach me the way. So I love it. And our girl Sheeta's now AEW Women's Champion. I love it. What are your thoughts on that?
So here's the weird thing. I predicted Nyla Rose to win.
Me too.
And I was completely wrong, but I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
I thought Sheeta did deserve to be the women's champion. I just thought that they were going to try and maybe tell a story with it, and it would be later. Because here's the thing. I feel bad for Nyla's title reign, basically.
Yeah.
She missed half of it.
I know.
Hopefully she gets another chance. And we were more so worried about, does this hurt Nyla as a monster in
I
her
don't
role
think
in
so.
the women's division?
I don't think so. I mean, it was a good fight. Like, legit, I was screaming in my house. I wanted Sheeta to win because Sheeta is actually like my favorite at AEW, and I actually thought like Nyla was gonna retain because I said, okay, championship belts matter, right? Like, so I didn't think that they were gonna switch belts when there's no crowd. I thought it wasn't gonna happen. So like when it did happen, I was screaming in my house because I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, okay. I was like, I see what we got here, and I love it. So it was,
and it came from such a random move. It was a running knee. I was like, the Falcon arrow didn't put her down, but that did. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, it was good. It was a hardcore match though. Like, so she didn't look bad at all, Nyla Rose, like you said, like at all. So I wonder where we're gonna go from here. But yeah, I feel bad that she didn't really have a title reign like very long. You got beat out of a title reign. So, but again, like I said, I'm very shocked that belt like switched so quick. But well deserved. Well deserved. I love Sheeta to death. So, so AD9 says in the chat, Sheeta should hold it for at least a year. I think so. I think it's time for someone to hold it for a good like year.
Yeah. Oh, you said 89. What's up, Rob? I know who that is.
Hi. What is going on? Thanks for hanging out with us. So, oh man. So, what's the first thing you're gonna do when we all go back to normal?
I'm going to probably be a little reluctant to go to these shows. I don't know. Like so you, as you know, I think you're promised a show in July too from AEW. Yeah. I don't know if that show's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen.
But if it gets postponed again, I'm just gonna wait my turn, I guess, until it's time.
Yeah, I'm like waiting. I'm surprised like they haven't said anything, but it's hard because we're still, New York. Well, I mean, I'm in Long Island right now, so like we're starting to open up this week. Like we're going into phase 1 this week. So, but I know like New York City, they're saying maybe phase 1 like mid-June. So I don't really see any of these shows happening. And I know like Jersey's starting to open up a little bit as well. A lot of the shows I go to are in Jersey, more than New York. So yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's so funny because it's sad because I keep a calendar of shows in my book. Like because I go to so many independent shows, and it's funny because I'm like crossing them out on the book. I'm like, oh, no, like I'm so sad. I'm gonna miss the show. Like this sucks, but I don't know what's gonna happen. I want to go to a show. Some of the shows I do background for, like I'm doing the podcast for. So but the thing is, a lot of these shows, they're not on like Fight, right? So even if they just do no fans, I think a lot of the promotions aren't going to do it unless they start investing to do on like Fight or IWTV or something.
A lot of these shows need the fan bases to survive. And here's the weird thing. Wrestling's like transitioning from not so many live events, at least for the bigger promotions.
Right.
To they need that gate attendance. Like they want you there.
Yeah.
And I think the main thing I'm taking from this, and this goes from independents all the way up to WWE, you have to appreciate the people for what they add to the show now. No matter what, at the end of this, like the wrestling fans' opinions matter. And I think people need to really realize like this is the time to listen to wrestling fans.
Yeah.
If your fan base, your core people that are there, they have reasonable opinions. If they're saying, hey, I don't like this, make the change. Yeah. You want as many people to go to those indie shows. Yep. I just wonder how quickly these houses will fill back up after this.
I mean, I hope so. I mean, a lot of promotions have those dedicated fans, but people are going to be scared to go out. So that's another thing too for like the promoters. Like, what are you going to do to guarantee we're gonna feel safe to come to these shows? Like, are you going to have like a distance between seats? Like, are you going to offer, I don't know, gloves, masks? Like, I know there was a promotion that was trying to run when we started slowly like shutting down, that they were like, okay, we're going to be safe. We're going to be offering this. We're going to be offering this. You're going to feel safe. We want you to come. So, but yeah, it's going to be hard, and we definitely need something.
Yeah, maybe they'll offer like a free intermission for whoever has the most creative mask. Maybe they can, t-shirt. You could run contests and stuff to get people in there, right, and see what your ticket load will be. Maybe you only sell out. I'm just using small numbers for instance. It's a 100-seat venue. You only sell 60. Then you can know like, all right, well, this is the spacing we could do for that.
Right.
And just run a bunch of contests. Wrestlers are gonna have to be willing to give back to the fans right now too. Like, hey, if you show up at this independent show, we'll be raffling off a ticket. One person will get to get a t-shirt of their choice or meet a wrestler of their choice for free.
Sounds good. A lot of creativity there that I feel like that can be done. So there's so many shows. I'm sad that like weren't happening. Like I'm hoping for I think Escape from New York is going to be one that like is going to be like the BWF's first show that I'm like looking forward to. Like, I think I went last August. So they actually put a tweet out there like, do you want our first show when we come back to be Escape from New York? And I'm like, either way, me personally, I will be there. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I will come support, whether you're doing it in August or whether you're doing it in December. Like, I'm going to be there. So again, like I said, like, I'm that loyal fan, you know, if I like that promotion. But again, like you said, like, how do you get the casual fan that maybe is not, you know, a regular at this show, like to feel comfortable to come out? Because even when that gets lifted up, you're right. It's going to be hard, and you need that fan base. And again, like I said, not every promotion is on Fight or IWTV or Power Slam. So some of them just record and then it gets uploaded after, and they're just feeding off of the crowd in attendance. So I've seen those shows where there's only like 20 people up against like a couple of hundred. So
yeah, I basically, if you like something, it's time to support it.
Yeah.
It's the best thing I could say for any wrestling fan.
Definitely. And then the wrestlers too, like, go support the wrestlers. Like, they have merch. So like when I even do like my Under the Ropes, like I make sure, like, do you have merch? Because like I want to put it out there. So I even noticed, like, I've been trying to do it on Twitter every once in a while, and on the No Holds Barred Network group on Facebook. Like, there's a whole bunch of independent wrestlers in there. So you can go in there. They post matches, which is great too. They post their matches. They post their merch. Go help support them, because a lot of them, you know, like, they're not making any money because they're wrestling, and that's how they're paying bills. So I feel for them. I definitely, anything I could do to like help anybody out, you know, I'm here for it.
Especially right now. It's tough, man. I hope everything works out in the best interest of everybody soon, though.
Yeah, it's we're all losing our minds, and we're trying to do the best, and then us as content creators, we're trying as well to keep you guys going as well. So I love wrestling, and so you, like you said, you love an AEW right now. So what do you think about this? Can you imagine? So I know, like, I think we talked about this. Can you imagine AEW, right? Like, do kind of like a G1 once a year, right? What are your thoughts about this? Every year, it's like a different promotion. So let's just like the month of June, right? Like, June's our G1 of AEW or something, right? And like this year, like, you go up against New Japan guys, right? And then the following year, like, maybe you go up against like MLW. You know, like the following year you go up against GCW. I think that'd be like a cool way to get, you know, independent wrestling to work together and have matches that we wouldn't normally see, maybe.
I think that all those companies should have synergy. And I think the wrestlers should be able to go where they want to go as independent contractors. Let me put the air quotes around that for certain companies.
Right.
Yeah, that would be absolutely great, though. First off, who doesn't love tournaments? Yeah. Tournaments are always fun, in my opinion. Especially if they're done right and you can book them to tell a story within it. It's marvelous. It's a great thing to watch. As far as that, I would love G1 matches like that to set up. I think every New Japan fan definitely books in their head like, oh, this is how I would set this up. You would go here, here, here. I know last year with Wilf, he put out like a little bracket, and we were just trying to predict all the matches, and some people hit it right on the nose with exactly how some of the stuff was going to happen. Really good. So I always love seeing those and reading those.
Oh man, tournaments. I love it. I don't know. I love the ladder matches. I love what we got the other day. Very different. I don't know. Like, we'll see what happens with AEW. I hope one day. And man, I wish you watched BTE so we could talk about BTE a little bit. But I'm not gonna do that. So Chris says in chat, AEW versus GCW, Havoc versus Nick fucking Gage. Gimme. Can you imagine?
I don't know if I'm ready for that though, Chris. Like, that's gonna be
a little too violent.
Yeah, I was gonna say blood and guts, but I feel like that would be inappropriate at this point.
Oh my God, it would be very, very interesting. AEW versus GCW. I'm sad. I saw the post the other day. We were supposed to get Will Ospreay with Blake Christian and Alex Zane, and my heart is broken because I can only imagine what that match would have been, because Alex Zane and Blake Christian, anytime in the ring that they get together, oh my my goodness.
Money.
Yeah, it's money. It's money. Even Chris Bay and Alex Zane is money. Like
that's probably one of my favorite GCW matchups that I've seen so far. I haven't watched a lot of GCW, but Queen and everyone else puts me down on it, and I just watched that show where those two wrestled on it, and it was the most recent one, and I absolutely loved that match. Like I thought it was so good.
It was, that was in Texas. I watched that. It was so good. I was so excited. Like, so I went with Queen of Any to GCW in January. I had so much fun. And the thing, like I say, right, like, because originally I thought the same thing with GCW. I was like, oh my God, so much blood, you know, all this stuff. Not every show and not every match is death match. That show that I went to with Queen in January, there was no death matches. Like, I think the most was like chairs hitting and, you know, maybe like a table here and there, but like nothing. Like when GCW's in Japan, those are death matches. Like I could barely handle.
That's that FMW stuff right there.
Oh God, oof! I can't. Like like it's tough for me. But Orange Cassidy in GCW was money, especially when he had the IWTV belt. And then, you know what's another great match? I don't know. If you didn't watch this match, you need to go back and watch Tony Deppen and Alex Zane at 4th of July last year. This definite match. Tony
Deppen's an excellent independent pro wrestler. If you hear, like some of these names we're saying, if you're not familiar, if you hear like they're coming to your local area, go.
Yeah. It's worth it. And it's funny because I saw Synergy Colin put out. He was like, oh, who do you want us to debut? And like it was like 4 guys. And I remember Alex Zane was one, and I think Blake Christian was another, and I forgot who the other 2 guys. I can't think off the top of my head.
I voted for Alex.
Yes, it was funny.
I was torn too.
Alex Zane was supposed to come, and then something happened that he was booked somewhere else. So then it was supposed to be a replacement with Tony Deppen. And I was like, okay, either way. I was like, it doesn't matter. I was like, because these are great names. Sometimes these names are worth to like go see. But yeah, these guys are money. Okay. And I've had 2 of those guys on the Under the Ropes episodes, and they're freaking humble as hell and such great people. Tony Deppen here, he plays like a heel pretty much, right? He plays the biggest like heel, and he's like the most nicest person.
It works though. It works for him.
Oh, it's so great. I don't know why he's not signed. Like, sign him. You know, like some of these guys I don't know, right? A lot of people I think that know me would think that I would want everybody in AEW. That's not the case for me. It really isn't. Like, Alex Zane is New Japan for me all day. Yeah. That he is not even AEW. New Japan all day. Like,
put him in the juniors division, he'll rock.
Danhausen belongs in Ring of Honor. Like, seriously. Like, I could see Warhorse in AEW. I can kind of see that a little bit. Maybe like Ring of Honor as well. That's probably where I kind of see him end up going. But these names are great. And I remember, who was it? Alex Zane, because I say that I'm selfish and that I want the guys to stay in the independent world because I like following them in the independent scene. But once they get called up, then somebody else can take their spot in the independent scene.
It's all a cycle, Tiff.
Yeah.
It's going to come back. We'll have new favorites soon.
Well, no swearing. No swearing.
What?
Danhausen is money, man. Like, oh my, again, all these names we're dropping. If you're not familiar, you need to go and you need to go check them out because they are money. And I need to become one of Danhausen's Patreons because his little clips that he drops on Twitter are hilarious. But he legit has a Patreon, like Cooking with Danhausen, and I need to see what that's all about.
Yeah, Matt Lopez, he usually drops like a lot of Ring of Honor info while it's happening to me. So thank you. Shout out to Matt Lopez. He sent me one today that said, I think it's if enough people buy his shirt that they just put up on Ring of Honor's shop site, that they'll sign him possibly. So if you're a fan.
I really think he, like, I just have this feeling. I feel his character fits in Ring of Honor. And I see him pushing on Ring of Honor a lot. Like, he's always sending tweets at Ring of Honor, like, hire Danhausen. Like, I think you're right. I think if he's not signed already, and we just don't know. Like, I feel like that's
what I
the
was
thing.
lean towards.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was going to be an offline statement to you, but yeah, I think that he is.
Yeah, I think he's
sure.
kind of like sign. It just seems like he's going that way. I think, and again, like I said, he's perfect, and a lot of people don't like the comedy act, but he's good, and he's got a great character and open mind. That's right. Like I always say, open mind to everybody. Like give everybody a chance, because I don't know. I feel it's made me such a better fan to keep that open mind. Right. Like I'm not into that strict thought of it's supposed to be like this. Wrestling can be anything for everybody. So go make noise, like what you like, and go with it, right? So, right. Oh man. So you've been in independent shows, obviously. Like, what was like your favorite, like independent show that like you've been to?
I think it was one of my more recent ones was with Empire State Wrestling. Mm-hmm. On this show, they had the Lucha Brothers. This is before AEW started, too.
Okay.
The Lucha Brothers were signed. Like, we knew things about AEW, but we haven't seen AEW yet.
Right.
So the Lucha Bros were there, and MJF was there. Now, I don't know if you remember this on Twitter, but I screenshotted it. So I said, I'm going to be at the Empire State Wrestling show doing a review. If you guys see me, come over, say what's up, and one or two people came over and said hi to me. But MJF responded to my tweet, and he said, nobody cares what your opinion is of the show. And that led to us having a back and forth. And I said, oh, you better be careful, because if Brandy sees this, she'll cuss you out again like she did before on, I think it was BTE, for trying to give chocolate to Pharaoh. And this led to a whole back and forth between me and MJF. So we go to the show, and you get to meet people. So I can't remember. I think we met the Lucha Bros in the beginning, because I went to their table. So there's a picture of my wife, me, and Derek, he usually reviews AEW with me as my co-host. We're all there, and we're taking pictures with the Lucha Bros. My wife's pregnant. You could tell she didn't want to even be there, but she was like, yeah, I'll get in the picture. Come on. And they took the picture. It was so cool. Very nice of them. Got autographs, everything else. Lucha Bros were cool. MJF comes out during the intermission. You know how they sell the T-shirts. Yeah. Hold over. MJF comes up, and I'm the first person in line, and he says, hey, Q Ball, you're first. Come on up. And I'm bald, if you didn't know. So he comes up, and MJF's, just talking. I said, before we get this started, sir, I said, do you know who I am? He was like, no. And I was like, sir, I'm the person that you said nobody cared about my opinions to. And MJF takes the first picture with me, and you know the gimmick that he does usually. He flips the bird in your face, or he'll stare at you, make a ugly face or whatever. And when MJF did that, I actually got him to where a lot of fans were laughing. I won't even do it. Something totally inappropriate. And I ruined his picture where he thought he was going to get me, and I got him, and we both kind of shared the little laugh afterwards. But MJF was really cool about everything. He plays this. If you meet him, he's going to play his role to the fullest. And on that show, he wrestled Puff.
I love Puff.
Puff is great.
Yeah.
They're all local area guys.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of the remix Kevin Bennett. I'm surprised that nobody's picked him up yet too. He is an excellent pro wrestler. Got a lot of things that he can do. He raps as well. He lives in my local area too. So Kevin Bennett is an excellent pro wrestler if you've never seen him. He does a lot of stuff in Smash Wrestling in Canada as well.
I love it.
Who was on that show? So I think it was Pepper Parks. I want to say that was the name he was going by at the time, versus the remix Kevin Bennett. This was a great, like, hardcore match. I have never seen like harder chair shots in my life at a live show. And the Butcher came out, and he played his role. And from the independent scene, when the Butcher and Blade debuted, I knew who they were. So that was the crazy part. There was like, I don't even know who these guys are. And I'm like, dude, I know exactly who they are, what they can do.
Yeah.
And they're really good. I almost called him by his real name. The Butcher, Andy Williams, if you guys don't know, he's a really, really number one great guitar player. And just so cool to see those guys pop up at these shows. And I'm like, yeah. And then a few weeks later, when AEW starts up, I saw them, and I'm like, yo, they got signed. That's dope. Like, half the dudes at the show were with AEW, like, when I saw it. So it's just a feel-good moment.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of who else. I see Colin Delaney a lot, too. A lot of people don't remember him from ECW. Colin Delaney is like a veteran now on the independent scene. And he's in a tag team. I believe it's To Infinity and Beyond. I might have the name wrong. But Colin Delaney, excellent wrestler. He wrestled the Lucha Bros at that show. Did amazing. amazing. So I'm so happy to be able to see him as well.
Yeah.
Great show.
That's great. MJF. I love it. I love it. Like I said, I followed him back then. He Creator Pro, like SWA. I used to heckle the hell out of him. So again, you're right. Like I'm in a region where I have access to a lot of wrestling. So, but I tell everybody, go support your local independents. Like it's definitely worth it. And to see them come up to like these big promotions and see how it was before the fact is really something else. So, oh look at that! I just got an exclusive. I just got an exclusive. I guess. Okay, I'm not gonna.
I heard it in the background, and we were talking about that pre-show.
I think I just got invited to an ICW show. So, oof, nice. June 27th. I love it. Okay, cool. So I guess I'm clearing my schedule for that day. That's so funny. And Danny D'Amato, who just hit me up. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So, oh man, wrestling. I love it. I can't wait. And I can't wait so that we can finally meet. I'm sad that we haven't had a chance to meet yet. So hopefully we could you're really you're in New York too. So
we're on opposite sides. I'm Western New York and you're like East.
Yeah, I'm the thing that's like sticking out, the island that's sticking out, but I'm more towards the city. I'm not even
important part of New York. I'm kind of the forgotten son of New York. Like I'm in Buffalo. Yeah, I forgot. They got a football team, right?
Yeah. I gotta I don't know when everything gets better or we're back to normal, because I definitely want to come up because I want to also go to Canada because I'd like to go visit Kyle again as well. So maybe we can make that happen, unless there's another StarCast or another AEW event that we could all collide together at. So I definitely hope for that to happen as well in the future. So
definitely.
Fingers crossed for that. So, but yeah, so we've been going pretty much an hour. I mean, I love talking wrestling with everybody. So I'm glad that you and me finally got to sit down and chat. It's been a long time coming on the podcast as well. So thank you for coming and talking. I can't wait. We'll have you on again. Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, we barely scratched the surface.
I know. That's
it's just like friends talking.
That's what it's just like a hangout. We get to talk about some great all over the place. We went all over the place. It wasn't just one particular thing. We were talking about a lot of things. So I'm glad. So for people that don't know you, so now hopefully they know you. So go tell everybody where they could follow you at.
First, let me say thank you for having me on. I greatly appreciate it. No Holds Barred Network is great. I appreciate you, Kyle, Ray, everybody who's part of the No Holds Barred Network. Thank you guys so much for even having me on. To be considered. Tiff knows her wrestling, so once she said hey, do you want to come out? I was like, absolutely, yes. Gotta make sure this happens.
Yes.
You guys can find me on Twitter at EPW Show. Most of my recordings are done on YouTube Live, so then you guys can go onto YouTube, just type in Everything Pro Wrestling, click that subscribe button, and yeah, we're almost to the point of being sponsored. So check out some of the shows. If you like AEW, WWE, Ring of Honor, Impact, New Japan, I got something for you on there. So make sure you guys check that out. Thank you once again, Tiff, for having me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love it. I'm glad that we get to chat. I love some wrestling. I love that we get to talk a little bit about everything. So, and look, we talked a lot about the indie scene. So maybe we'll do an indie talks one of these days. We'll pick a show or something and we'll review it with Ray. We'll definitely do something like that in the future. That'll be fun. So since we're not, hopefully, we can get some shows back. But if not, again, we can maybe review an old show and do something like that. That'll be a lot of fun. So, yeah, so thank you guys for watching the Wrestle Forum. I'm your host, as always, the EVP of Giggles, the Heartbreak Chick, the Queen of the Indies, Tiffany, and I will be back tomorrow with Under the Ropes with Monster Steve Mac. So I'm so excited for that as well. So make sure you guys get your questions in for that as well. So yeah, guys, make sure you follow us on Twitter, the No Holds Barred Network. Follow me, Loves to Dream 82, and we will see you guys soon. Have a good night. Have a good Memorial Day, guys. Bye.